Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Computer America Show. Got a great program planned for you tonight. SpaceCurve is here with us in this hour. Going to be talking about what it is that they do. Very unusual. Spatial data platform that transforms the Internet of Everything into operational intelligence. We have the company's CEO, Dane Coyer, here with us. And in the second hour, we have Computer and Technology News brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we begin Computer America.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman. No, you're muted.
And I'm your co-host, Ben. Wow, I'm doing really, strong start. That's what we like here on Computer America. Strong starts to our broadcast.
Well, better late than never. But we're so glad to have all of you here at the Computer America program. We have an interesting show planned for you. In the second hour, we're going to have Computer and Technology News brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And also, we're going to talk a little bit more. Before we start the news, we're going to talk about our new website and what we're doing with the contests. I know a lot of you want to win some great prizes. We have so many great prizes to give away, and we want to give them to you, and we want to find the best, most efficient way of getting prizes to you, our listeners. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing with the Computer America contest at ComputerAmerica.com. We'll be discussing that in the second hour of the program. Let's see. Now, if you have a comment or a question for our guest this hour, or if you just want to speak with us at any time in the second hour, you can do so by picking up the phone and giving us a call. It's 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. That'll get you on and get you through. You can also join us in our live interactive chat room from our homepage at ComputerAmerica.com. Just go to the pull-down menu there, the second one from the left that says Show Lounge. Just click on that, and you'll see the Computer America chat room. You can also select the full-screen chat if you want to. You're certainly welcome to do so. And it'll ask you for, it'll say want to enter, and you'll just type in a name. That's the name you'll be known by when you go into the chat room, and it's just that quick. And then you're right into the chat room, and you can join us and say hello. A lot of interesting people in there tonight, including our guest is in the chat room as well. So lots of things happening. But anything, I always ask, anything you want to talk about before we get started with our first hour?
You mentioned social stuff. No, I think we're good to go.
Okay, well then let's do it. Our guest this first hour is from a company called SpaceCurve. This is a spatial data platform that transforms the Internet of Everything into operational intelligence. You can see how customers are leveraging SpaceCurve to fuse and interrogate both live and historical data at unprecedented speed and scale. SpaceCurve delivers a single, seamless live model of your data. Their core technology ingests and stores data at network speeds. You get a real-time, adaptive, spatially organized, distributed index that preserves spatial proximity across all data sources. SpaceCurve makes it easy to use your data by continuously indexing reality in space and time while making it easily analyzable and immediately actionable. Now, here with us is the CEO of SpaceCurve, Dane Coyer. Dane, hi. Welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Great, Thanks for having me, guys.
We're
Our pleasure.
glad to have you here. You know, I took statistics in college and everything, and I sweated through that. You know, if my
And we learned there, statistically, most people had not taken statistics.
yeah, exactly, uh, and it was mandatory for computer science, which is my degree, and um, but you know, I'm sure things have come a long way. Why don't you, in your own words, a little bit? You heard my introduction. Um, why don't you tell a little bit of what it is that SpaceCurve does in your own descriptions? Kind of let our listeners know what it is that you do.
Or basic English.
Yeah, please.
If you can.
So we built from the ground up what is essentially a database that's optimized for spatial data. Spatial data could not be represented in existing technologies, and so right from the operating system all the way up to the user interface, we had to build this entire technology stack: database kernel, massively parallel architecture, and we had to be able to have a very precise geometry engine. So we needed to build all of those things in order to solve the problems that we saw on the horizon with the explosion of sensor data. Everything is going to have a location and a time stamp associated with it. The Internet of Everything, or the Internet of Things, whatever you want to call it, is going to have this massive explosion of sensors, in addition to what's already been there in terms of mobile phones, and now we're having connected cars, the instrument itself, connected homes, you name it, everything will be connected, and everything happens at some location at some period in time. So in order to capitalize on that, there needed to be a new software platform, a new database that could ingest the data as it happens, not post hoc, but as things are occurring, because some of the highest value use cases are immediate. As things are occurring in the physical world, how can we make a decision based on what we're getting from data from essentially this massive network of sensors that's approximating the physical world?
Now,
So, SpaceCurve, were you guys created like in response to all this data coming in, or like did they just say, oh, we have so much data that I don't think we can hire enough interns to make this viable? Like, I don't think we can hire on 3 million interns. Like, was SpaceCurve a response to all this data, or were you guys kind of planning on coming online before it got too out of hand?
Well, our founder, Andrew Rogers, was the visionary behind this, and he was working back in the late 2000s, 2009. SpaceCurve was founded. So prior to the founding of SpaceCurve, Andrew was working. He worked at a company called Keyhole that was acquired by Google Earth. Became Google Earth, and he was working on the back-end databases for Google Earth, and at the time they were struggling being able to manage all of that spatial data. On top of that, he had the foresight to say, now that we've indexed the virtual world or the web world, what if we index the physical world and had that all in a live model that we knew where everything in the physical world resided, and we could do computations of anything from local traffic to global supply chains. And so he wanted to go down that path. As they investigated that, they found that at the time, all current technology platforms were insufficient. And at the time, the company that Andrew was working with, Google in particular, didn't really want to make that investment. So he spun out and started SpaceCurve, and he had to go off and do the hardcore science, computer science, engineering work that was necessary to solve these problems. That was in anticipation. I mean, the iPhone hadn't even been released yet.
Oh, wow.
So it was quite visionary.
So the terms big data and all that stuff that we hear now hadn't really been coined at that point. But now, of course, it's a big, and I assume you fit right into it.
Like in my mind, I picture that scene from like Volcano. It's like that one geologist is like looking at all the signs, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And then like he sees the volcano coming right for LA, but no one wants to do anything about it until it's too late. So I guess that's where SpaceCurve was. The founder was, seeing it coming and creating a solution to fix it.
Yeah, and quite ahead of its time. And you look back and say, oh, well, of course. But at the time, like I said, the iPhone hadn't been really introduced to the market yet. Smartphone technology was in its infancy, and not to mention all of the other sensors that are exploding on the scene.
So
And
you were saying this tech was too extreme for even for Google? That's really something.
it was something that they didn't want to tackle. And there was some significant, their big table architecture and things that they had been very successful with in the virtual world didn't adapt to a spatial problem set. And so at the time they just chose to not go after that problem set. And Andrew decided he thought that there was a need in the marketplace, either immediate or emerging, that needed to be solved, and he went off and created SpaceCurve.
So what is it when someone uses the technology that is SpaceCurve? I mean, what are you seeing? Are you seeing? I mean, when I look at the your website, your homepage, you have all these little dots moving back and forth, and I mean, are we seeing visual representations of numbers, statistical numbers? Are we? I mean, how do you interact with what SpaceCurve has to offer? I guess is what I'm asking.
So you can interact with SpaceCurve anywhere from a command line SQL interface for the database folks out there, up to GUI-based GIS lookalike front ends. We're partners with companies such as Esri that have a traditional GIS user interface that our user can use to visualize the information. But what you're basically seeing is the data feeds reduced to some level, fused in many cases, and then represented on in whatever form that is meaningful to the user. That could be a map-based interface, it could be a dashboard-based interface, or it could just be a command line interrogation questioning of the database, much like you would do with any kind of database, a relational database, for instance.
Well, would something like this be useful, let's say, for weather forecasting? I mean, I'm just trying to envision how you would do this.
Yeah, well, weather forecasting or using weather is one part of a set of use cases. And so I think you're seeing on the screen, we actually took all the data from the evening of Sandy, and we took weather, many different kinds of weather. We took Doppler radar, which is very dense data. We took ground-based weather stations. We took social media, and social media that was relevant geographically, not social media from the entire United States, but what was happening during Hurricane Sandy. IP pings, availability of data processing nodes, what's up, what's down, and we were able to fuse all that together and give a real-time picture of what was happening. Now, we obviously did it post hoc. We gathered all the data, and we run it fast because it unfolded over 8 to 10 hours. In fact, I was in my son's apartment in Brooklyn during Hurricane Sandy. And so we were able to fuse all that data, and then if emergency responders or what have you had that system up and running that evening, it would have helped them in managing the overall situation in terms of deployment of resource, where things are falling apart from an infrastructure standpoint, perhaps improve the prediction of weather and the hurricane path. So all of that data is spatial, and so in almost all of our use cases, it's not just one data set that you're looking at. You're fusing multiple different data sets together in the same spatial domain, and you're essentially using space and time as primary keys for the database folks. And space and time organizes all the data in a single model so that you can see what's happening. You also can look back at history and see what happened, and you can so you have this historical view and the real-time view, and you can operate on it in many different ways. Predictive models. You can use it to, in the case of Sandy, emergency management, traffic management, many different use cases.
Now you mentioned some of the applications. You mentioned traffic, modeling or real-time analysis of traffic grids. I assume. Uh, can you? Who are some of your customers? Who that you can tell us about who uses SpaceCurve?
So we have customers in a couple different industry areas: advertising, retail, uh, in the hospitality industry, obviously in the governmental agencies,
Mhm.
and believe it or not, in the emerging UAV market. So there's a real interesting set of use cases around UAVs. So anybody that has fast-moving, high-density, extreme amounts of data that has spatial attributes uh, is a potential client.
Okay, all right.
So, like, you guys provide the platform. Like, you don't personally go you have all these use cases. You aren't out there collecting your own data. Like, you don't have UAVs flying around. You don't have all that stuff. You just provide people the platform who are collecting the data to then interpret their data. Uh, do you guys actually do any data collection of your own, or is it just the platform?
Well, we have data partnerships with a few key people, but we don't do data collection on our own. So, for instance, we have a partnership with a company named AirSage that has about 40% of all the mobile data points in the United States. So 40% of all the mobile traffic location data, it's anonymized, it's aggregated, it cannot be attributed to individuals. But when you look at 40% of that of the United States, you can extrapolate into essentially 100% of the United States in terms of what's happening from a people movement standpoint, be they in cars, on foot, on horseback, on bicycle. So so you take that data and fuse it with other data like social media, and you start to get some tremendous insights into what's happening spatially in any location. So we don't collect data, but we have data partnerships with people like AirSage, and data really comes in three different flavors. There's uh, proprietary data that the the people like UAV manufacturers collect as they're operating, or a retailer may collect as they're operating. Then there's open source data. You can get things like the U.S. Census Bureau data. You can get weather data that's open source. And the third piece is what I call premium data, and that's the data that's for sale through people like the Twitter feed or mobile data points or Wi-Fi access points. There's many premium data sets that you can acquire.
Okay. Uh, Now you mentioned other topics about location-based analytics. Uh, is that what it sounds like? I mean, it's data based upon the location. Is that what do you mean by location-based analytics?
So there's the location-based analytics up to this point has really been around a location and tell me everything I can possibly know about this particular location. Let's say it's a square city block. And what's happened up to this point really is a lot of people have taken the parts of the United States, tiled it up into these very perfect, regular, rectangular tiles, and they pour data into these tiles, and they can tell you basically the stores that are in that tile, uh, points of interest, and a certain number of statistics about maybe the socioeconomic makeup of who lives in that tile, or gross receipts from retail activity. So but I really look at that as not spatial but placial, and it's all about the place. With spatial, it's much more far-reaching. It's continuous. It takes into account motion patterns. It's real time. It's always on. It's interactive. So it's a very different model from previous location analytics that was batch-oriented, static, not discontinuous because it was carved up into tiles.
Mhm.
And so it's really the next generation beyond that.
I got a question.
This is so freaky because like I've seen all these ideas before, but they've been in video games and they kind of show you how to run your city. and but to learn that people are actually kind of getting the general mood of the populace in a certain area, may be tracking the weather in a certain area. Uh, it's kind of cool because something that you kind of think is only happening in games just to make it fun and easy. I guess someone out there has to be collecting all those tweets that you're sending out.
So it's interesting if you take say there's a city emergency, and the emergency management people do a great job of modeling traffic flows and looking at how they may evacuate in the case of an emergency, but they really don't know at the moment something happens where everybody is.
Okay.
And so if you have this always-on system that has this view, and I'm not talking about find out where Craig is, but find out where people are. You have this always-on system that knows where the population density is in vehicles, in buildings, people that are walking afoot, or in transit hubs, or on trains or buses. You would have a much clearer picture when you marry that up with real-time traffic, marry that up with weather, marry that up with social media information, all in one single fully fused operational picture. Wouldn't that be a much more effective way to manage a crisis like that?
To evacuate people. Yeah, I guess it would. That would.
Yeah, we're in South Florida, and we have to deal with hurricanes all the time, and you're supposed to know your routes, you're supposed to know that, but still, emergency services every time there's a some kind of natural disaster, they have a hard time getting people to evacuate, make sure that people aren't in their homes, that kind of thing, and it's. I guess with this technology just coming out in the past, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, this would change pretty much, evacuation plans. You'd be able to direct people via the radio or emergency service text messages, direct them to better flow their traffic, so you don't have as much backup. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's going to change emergency services.
How they do.
Yeah. Certainly hope so.
I got a question in the chat room for you. He wants to know if your software can track everything in real space time. In other words, how close is that? How close is this to a machine with the answer to life, the universe, and everything? I guess a hitchhiker's.
It's been a long time since I read that book. So, so it's only our geometry model is extremely precise, but it's not any more precise than the data that we're getting from it. Putting into it, we can enhance data, and we can make data smarter in terms of fusing multiple different data sets together, do some statistical analysis, and then pinpoint location more precisely. But so it has information from the data, but it doesn't make the data any more precise. It doesn't make a GPS signal any better than it is. For instance, it doesn't make we get data from, for instance, a cellular network, and that information is processed to the extent it can be processed, but it has a certain inherent precision with it.
So
I don't know if that answered his question or not.
I'm sure it was well, it did in a roundabout way. But we've been mainly focusing on like cell phone data and things like that. We mentioned a little bit earlier in the show the Internet of Things. What kind of data are people trying to interpret from the Internet of Things? Because to the average person, all these connected devices are meant to simply, be able to turn on your oven from work, so by the time you get home, it's already warmed up, or it's meant to make the average person's lives maybe not easier, but more connected. What kind of data are people trying to pull from all these devices that people are putting in their homes nowadays?
Well, it's not just devices in the homes; it's devices in the wild too. And I'll give you a couple interesting use cases. There is a company that manufactures a connected asthma inhaler, a connected asthma puffer.
Okay.
And so it has a cellular capability to transmit its location. And so if you were tracking, for instance, a city that has heavy-duty pollution, air pollution, and you had pollutant sensors all looking at for aerosols all around a city. You could be getting those signals from all of those sensors and see where in the population people are all of a sudden activating their asthma breathing devices.
Wow.
And you start to look at what other factors are contributing to that, like traffic, like weather, like what could be causing all of a sudden all of these people to have the need for their asthma rescue devices. So that's an interesting out of the home Internet of Things example.
And then what, you pinpoint that, and then what do you do with that information?
Well, then city planners, city regulators could go and try to determine what was the source of that. Was there a particular factory problem? Was there
It's like, oh, I knew we should have put that coal factory, the coal energy plant right in the middle of the residential place. That was awful.
Some of the more interesting examples I'm seeing right now are, and it's Internet of Things related, are UAVs. And what are UAVs going to do for us? A UAV is really a flying sensor, and they usually have many, many different sensors on board. And I'm not talking about the Amazon package delivery sensor, although that's pretty, or package delivery drone, that's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. But there's already we're starting to see drones being able to automate highly expensive and risky, dangerous operations. And so we worked with one client where they were inspecting some critical infrastructure like a pipeline or power lines or roads in remote areas. And they were originally flying private aircraft with two people, one person looking out the window, the other person hopefully flying carefully and inspecting along the ground what was going on, and then dispatching crews to that location based on what they saw. Well, that was dangerous and expensive, and so they decided to try using quadricopters, UAVs, flying along those same paths. And really what they were only doing was automating what the plane was doing. They were recording all this information with many different sensors like LiDAR and hyperspectral imaging, and then bringing it back, storing it, and a human being still had to read the sensor take and make a determination. What we were able to do is take a previous set of readings, compare them to the current readings, and determine whether or not the pipe had moved because of freeze-thaw cycles, whether or not the pipe had corroded more than the last time we saw it, and we were within millimeters of being able to see whether or not the pipe had moved for freeze-thaw. There's no way you could have done that just from a manned aircraft. So we took the LiDAR data, previous LiDAR, current LiDAR, did the spatial comparison, and were able to tell them whether or not there was a change that could affect the integrity of that particular pipe.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, really, to be able to get that, or to glean that information, and with those relationships. We're talking about these governmental and military drone. I mean, we're talking about these different applications that are, I guess, away from the average consumer. Are there any benefits here for retailers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Advertisers, that type of thing, which is more consumer oriented.
So if you look at the internet, for the last 15, 20 years, we were able to talk about who was at your web page, how long did they stay at the web page, what was their socioeconomic makeup, not necessarily specifically you, but you personified, right? And the physical world was never able to do that. So we weren't able to tell you who's going by a billboard or a retail location, how many, for how long, what times a day. So we're really trying to take what was done in the virtual world and the web world and move it into the physical world. So now we're using space and time as cookies, and we're able to tell you who's going by, say, a retail location or an advertisement, and how many people are going by the time of the day, and does the socioeconomic makeup of that pack of people going by change during the time of the day, and if it is, do I need to do a different advertisement for a different time of day for those people? Or if I'm a retailer, who's going by my competitive location? And how do I influence the behavior to make people come by me?
I can see, like, if you own those, like, road signs, that you can change them. That would be, I think, of
Oh, you're
immense
talking about the billboards, yeah.
billboards. It would be a immense value, not only the static ones, but the ones that can actually change and actually you can customize them based upon the data that you got from something like SpaceCurve. Dane, we're at the bottom of the hour. We need to take a little break, and then we're gonna continue on with this. Okay.
Okay.
All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show. Dane Coyer is here with us. He is the CEO of SpaceCurve, and we're finding this very interesting. Again, if you want to have a comment or question, join us in our chat room, or call us at 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. We've got a brand new news tips review from Marty Winston is coming up as well. You're listening to the Computer America program. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Aha! This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Antec Cooler. That's K-U-H-L-E-R. The Cooler H2O 1250 Liquid Cooler. A car's radiator helps cool the engine by circulating water through the engine, then into small pipes behind an area of metal fins with a heat exchange assist from a big set of blades driven by the appropriately named fan belt. Fins and fans have always been the basis of CPU cooling, and in some cases, pumped fluids as well. Antec sent the king of their liquid cooler line, the Cooler H2O 1250, with dual plus-size pumps, dual 120 millimeter, 600 to 2400 RPM fans, and a 4.7 by 11-inch radiator permanently sealed for no user maintenance. You can either replace dual case fans or mount this piggyback behind them, and you can configure its cold plate heads bracket for most current AMD or Intel CPUs. The copper plate on the CPU face of the head helps heat transfer, and its top side has a multicolor LED that you can use its software to configure to show thermal status at a glance. Bottom line, the Antec Cooler H2O 1250 liquid CPU cooling solution stays quiet most of the time, but may speak up if your overclocking goes crazy and you thermally abuse the CPU. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Here at 34 minutes past the hour, we have Dan Croyer here with us. He's the CEO of SpaceCurve. This really cool system here that allows you to analyze just crazy amounts of data into something useful, and it's someone is really popular tonight. Who knew? But yeah, no, and it's crazy that this kind of stuff can exist. You know, that you can get this much data and that you can kind of sort it out and put it in a useful format. And yet at the same time, like, we can't get simple things like voting for a president online yet. Like, this kind of information, you could pretty much tell who is going to be, like, just to get a little bit political here, where they live, where they go, what they shop, what they do. I mean, you're going to be able to pretty much tell, who they are. Of course, it's all anonymous and it's just data, but at the same time, the fact that you can put this into such a system. I mean, we were just getting into how it would be used in the commercial sense, in advertising and things like that. Like, who in the commercial space is using this kind of data? Because I can't assume that Ann's Muffins is kind of running these kind of analytics on their customer base. But is this like nationwide chains are looking at this too?
Well, first of all, let me make sure I point out we are not tracking individuals. We're not tracking.
Yeah.
We're looking at aggregate motion, aggregate movement, and you see flows of people, and it's not attributed down to individuals or households.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely want to make that very clear. Not tracking individuals, it's tracking data. That's right.
Right. So, and we can't attribute it or backtrack it to individuals. It's the way the data providers give us data and the way we manage any kind of data, it prohibits and eliminates the risk of that. But you can imagine our clients are pretty, they consider using our system a competitive advantage. So they don't necessarily want to be out talked about in terms of exactly what can be done. But I can tell you that there's some very large enterprises that have embraced using this technology to look at things to better enhance a customer's experience or optimize the outcome of their business financially, or to validate continuously what they're doing from a marketing campaign standpoint having an effect. Because it's really been outside of the virtual world, outside of the web world, it's really been very spotty from the people's ability to validate whether or not, first of all, something is getting the kind of traffic that is proposed. Second of all, if you do something with that traffic, is it having the desired benefit? And so what we're pretty proud of is that we give our clients the ability to truly know whether or not they're getting their money's worth from a location or ad spend or what have you, and be able to very accurately measure whether or not behavior has changed. And it doesn't always all show up at the point of sale register, so sometimes it's just getting foot traffic and dwell time and trying to improve those before it realizes itself at the cash register.
All right, so you're showing, you're giving examples of benefits for retailers and advertisers, I can understand, but what about the consumer themselves? I mean,
the consumer can get better information. So they could get, for instance, if someone wanted to have an opt-in app and they wanted to have specials pushed to them based on their proximity, the consumer could get offered a lot of retail benefits just by people knowing where they are in relationship to their retail outlet, for instance.
Well, didn't Apple have something like that when you had their iPhone and you go near a store, then your iPhone will display coupons for that particular store,
Right.
and So,
yeah, and a lot of that is inside the box. I'll call it, or maybe slightly outside the box, where you have say a geofence around a building, but it's limited in terms of its reach, and it's just one data set. You can expand that footprint to be both inside and outside a facility, and you can fuse a lot of other data with it to give you a lot richer view of that consumer, to be able to give them a better deal, or a more pinpointed, a precise, useful opportunity for them to purchase.
okay.
So right now, if you're in a shopping mall, for instance, some of that technology is deployed in big box retailers with beacons and Wi-Fi points,
Right.
what have you. But you don't know where the person came from before they got there. You don't know how long they stayed wherever they were. You don't know if they were at your competitors, if it's in a different place, especially if it was not in a big box kind of an arrangement. And we can tell people, we can tell a retail, for instance, all the people that are in your location right now, this many of them were at your competitors within the last hour. Not who specifically, but this many people. And then they could go and target or provide some kind of a valuable offer to those consumers.
Okay. Now, I got another question for you in the chat room. I don't know what it is. He wants to know if there's any chance of SpaceCurve partnering with NASA for interesting data set analysis. You know,
Is that an offer? Is that someone from NASA?
well, I think he wants to.
If that's someone from NASA, the answer is yes. We'd love to.
Good to know.
But how would NASA benefit from your technology, I guess is what he's asking.
NASA has a tremendous amount of spatially indicated data, from weather data to all kinds of different client data, or climate data, weather data, data from landmass moving, and imagery from satellites, and they have a tremendous amount of spatially indicated data.
Okay, and that would fit right into what it is that you do then, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And we could take historical data, have it all indexed and ready, and then compare current data with it in real time, and tell them, much like the example I told you with the UAV.
Yeah.
After a hurricane or after a particular event, how much of the soil moved from point A to point B? How much damage was there done to, say, forests through a forest fire? And so you could do real-time analytics on that, instead of really taking old images, trying to find the appropriate old image, compare it to a new image, and try to make some comparison.
So you've mentioned a couple times here, drones. I think when people first started hearing about them, they were either the cute children's toy, which were the quadricopters, or they were the things that drop Hellfire missiles on foreign countries. Like there wasn't a lot of middle ground for drones. But I guess nowadays we're hearing about drones that are, just like you said, simply unmanned sensors up in the air that detect things. Like, in your professional opinion, not asking you to out anyone, do you think drones are going to become more commonplace, like just like how you used to see maybe some kind of weather tracking, or like the radar dishes and things like that? Do you think drones, in terms of just sensors, are going to become pretty much commonplace in all over the U.S.?
I think drones are going to become a part of everyday life, and there's many countries that are way ahead of us on this. The FAA is trying to get through the ability to have a certain size drone available for commercial uses, and that's a long process in terms of certification and airspace management, and making sure we don't have interference with commercial aircraft. But that'll happen. We'll get through all that. What you're going to see, think about the future farm. This is an interesting example we think about. In the future, right now when we need to spray pesticides or water or weed or do things to a farm, it's really like carpet bombing. We just spray the whole field or we just water the whole field. What if you could get down to an individual plant and apply whatever's necessary in terms of fertilizer, pesticide, water, whatever, what have you? You could get literally down to an individual plant, and a drone could be flying up and down the farmer's field, making that analysis supported by sensors that are in the ground, weather forecasts, a history, what worked, what didn't work, and you're able to literally have an unmanned vehicle be out there and only applying the amount of resource necessary instead of just applying it just blanket coverage across the entire field. Right? Wouldn't that significantly change the economics of agriculture?
It sounds like you can apply this to most anything out there. I mean,
maybe the honeybees do have a chance.
Well, we could use drones, I guess, to pollinate plants when we can't get enough bees. I haven't thought.
No, we need the bees. We need the bees.
Exactly. Okay, so you're at a particular point now where you're doing this, and you're obviously, you're looking for, clients to come to you. But first, how do clients even find out about SpaceCurve, that you have this ability to offer them? I mean, how do you let them know, or how do they find you?
Do you have like one of those late night infomercials where it's like, I have all this data, but I can't analyze it. What do I do? And it's people like fumbling with like floppy disks and stuff like that.
I could be like Ron Popeil. Late night TV. Hair in a can.
Exactly.
We have a number of different things we do. We do we do trade shows in industries that have these kinds of problems and are very acute to them. They've tried to solve the problem in different ways and have failed, or they've cobbled together solutions that are suboptimal and they're running up against the limits of those solutions. So you can go to oil and gas shows, you can go to defense and intelligence shows, you can go to Esri is a great partner of ours. Everybody that's an Esri client has spatial data. That's why they use Esri. And so we go to a couple of Esri shows a year. And so we've done a lot in that area. We've done some outbound marketing, but not a lot. We probably will in the future, especially as we hone in on more industry vertical solutions and are able to better target certain clients. But right now we've really been going after people that we know in general have large-scale spatial data problems and have really recognized the limitations of what they've been doing so far.
That could be just about everybody. Really.
But everybody doesn't recognize that they have that problem. And here's an interesting question we get, or a response, or some people will say, I don't have spatial data. I just don't. I don't have maps. I don't have images. I don't have sensor data. Everything happens someplace. And so we have to explain to them that even point-of-sale transactions have a location and a time. And so literally 90% plus of all data is spatial data. So, but if they don't recognize that as important, then they're probably not quite ready yet. So for us, we look at people that have been in the spatial data management area for quite a long time and have really busted their pick trying to solve their problems.
Mm-hmm. And then you come along and say, hey, we have a solution for that for you. And I'm sure when they finally do, they're very gratified to find that out, to hear that.
Well, the first reaction is it can't be done. You're given a science fiction. There's no way you can ingest more than there's no way you can suck into your system millions of records per second.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. It can't happen. Or there's no way you can manage petabytes of data in real time, historical, streaming data, do the comparisons, and present me with information in sub-second response times. There's no way you can do that. And so there is a lot of I don't know if it's distrust or skepticism.
Yeah, and well, I'm glad to hear that you're dispelling that for them. All right, so where are you're based here now? What's next for SpaceCurve? Where do you want to, what do you want
Do
to do
you
next?
guys still work on your code, or is your code pretty much sound and your program is pretty good? Because you've even said it that uh, new sensors and new data is coming online all the time. I'm sure what you had 8 years ago or 6 years ago was revolutionary, but by now it has to be showing its age a little bit. Like, do you continually work on the code, or are you good?
Well, we just released the product in fourth quarter of last year.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys
So
said that you founded in 2009, so I thought
right,
this is the
right.
month.
Well, there was some deep science that needed to happen,
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
then heavy algorithm work, and then productization of the algorithms. So we just got to we did alpha, beta, and we really released the product at the end of last year. So and the other point I want to make is software ever done?
That's true.
Very true.
You have to finally release it, you know.
So we released it. We think we have a very good product, but you learn new things every day. New sensors are not a challenge to us, but you always think about new things you could do with the information that you already have. Deeper analytics, more predictive capability to do more predictive work, different ways you can represent the data from a visual standpoint. So there's always something new that we want to do to the system. Our development will continue indefinitely.
But do you make yourself available to the little guy? I mean, let's say this guy's got a small business, and can do you make yourself available to little business like that? Are you even valuable to
Like,
little?
one second, Coke and Pepsi are on the phone. Do you mind? Or
Could I take that call?
Yeah.
or that one?
So anyway, to make ourselves available to the mid market, small market, we're packaging up a version of SpaceCurve as a services offering. So it'll be a platform as a service, and prepackaged some data sets that are universally desired by people, and have it available with a simple user interface. It can be self-provisioned. You can put your data in it, your proprietary data in it, and you can get answers. And so it's a really a low-touch solution, and we're able to, because it's limited in terms of being a massive cluster on a client location. It's a more limited version that can be consumed by different parts of the market, like the folks that you mentioned.
Right. And when do you foresee that happening?
Third quarter of this year.
Third quarter of this year. Does it make sense to even talk about costs? What would it cost to use your service, a SpaceCurve service, at all?
We're testing the market out on that right now. We haven't pinned that down yet.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be a little hard to come up with
So what you're saying is, give SpaceCurve a call, and you'll work it out.
Well, there are going to be a set of clients that are always going to want their own license, and that has a certain business model around it. And then when you also have it as a service, that has an entirely different pricing model, different underlying cost structure. So we are out now testing the market to see what features are really desired, and how would we price that.
Yeah, exactly. Are you gonna, obviously, you'll keep all your features, or basically, if somebody asks for something that you don't quite have, you can add it to your repertoire, I would think.
Yeah, we have a professional services capability, and we're able to do unique things that are. We don't go off and do things just to do them. It has to be additive to our business.
Well, yeah.
But we'll go and help a client out that might have a unique twist on the usage of our technology.
Exactly. Well, if you want more information, of course, you can always go to our website at computeramerica.com, and you can check out SpaceCurve. we have a link to the SpaceCurve website there as well. So if you have more questions or you want to do more research on what SpaceCurve has to offer, it's available there as well. Anything else you'd like to let our listeners know, Dane, that we may not have covered that you'd like to tell us about?
No, I think that was a great discussion. I think we covered what I wanted to cover anyway. So I thank you. I thank you guys for having me on.
Hey, Dane, hey, it was a pleasure having you here on the show, and thanks so much, and best of luck to you with SpaceCurve. And it's nice knowing that there's something out there that people can use. Thanks again for being with us here on Computer.
All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Okay, there you go. SpaceCurve available. It's on our website at computeramerican.com, and you can check it out for yourself. It'll be up there on our new website. Let me just.
One of the listeners in the chat room has it right when he says it's so new and powerful. The value is kind of hard to to put a number on, because especially something that took 5+ years of active development just to get it to market. That's something we really haven't seen before.
Don Julio Gonzalez's passion for tequila equal to his passion for his friends and family.
I know what that is. Sorry about
They
that.
celebrated together.
Well, it sounds like an ad for tequila, so which
Okay,
I
go
think we can all get behind.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, but the value is hard to put to put a finger on, and it's definitely like it may not affect the person going out to Walmart picking up a cell phone and driving home at the end of the day, but there are data points all along your entire journey about what you purchased, what road you took, like all that's being analyzed by someone, not you specifically. You want to keep that clear, but people are collecting data just to see activities of the average person, and this is just one company putting it all together and fleshing out a map about what people are doing.
Right, exactly.
Again, in a cool way, not a creepy way. I want to be absolutely clear. This is all anonymous data, not creepy.
Well, I wanted to take this time a little bit to talk about what we're doing here at Computer America on our website, and I guess this is as good a time as any to start talking about it. If you go to our homepage at computeramerica.com, you'll see now there is a link there, right there on the. It's actually a story. It says "Continue reading." It's all about the social media contests. When we finish up our Logitech contest, that will be the last of that particular type of contest. We're going to extend our contest out using social media. We think that we can reach you more effectively that way. And so basically, when you go to, if you'll notice on every page at computeramerica.com, they have those little charms, the little that for Facebook and Google Plus and Twitter, the little icons that you can click on, and what we want.
Let us reach out and touch you. Get in touch with you. There we go. That's
exactly. But the idea here is that if you interact with us by going to our social media sites pages and register, then you do that with Facebook. You like it. With Twitter, you subscribe. With YouTube, you subscribe to our video page. When you subscribe to or like any of our social media, it puts you in our drawing where we will give a prize away every week. Every Friday, we're going to offer prizes, and also we'll have one dedicated to that particular site. Like for example, we're going to our next one will be for Facebook and YouTube. So when you like Facebook or you subscribe to the YouTube page, our YouTube page, you're automatically entered in. You don't have to ever do it again. You're in and you're registered, and it's a great way for you to get into our contest giveaways, because we have a lot of technology products that we like to give out, and we think this is just a better way to reach you and putting the latest technology into the hands of consumers. And And that's what we like to do here at ComputerAmerica.com. So go to our website and go to the different, go to our Facebook page, like our Facebook page, go to our YouTube page, and subscribe to our YouTube feed. There, a little button will appear, and it just does it once. Once you're subscribed, you don't have to ever worry about it again, and that will put you in our drawing. So every week we'll be giving away, on Friday we'll give away a great prize. Right now we're giving away the Logitech T650 wireless glass touchpad to some like valued at $80, but also we have a lot of other great prizes from Logitech, and we're going to dedicate a contest, let's say for the Facebook and YouTube one time, and then we'll do it for Twitter and Google Plus another time. So
if that didn't make sense, we'll discuss it again, but it also won't. But it will also not make sense again. So don't worry.
Okay. We've got computer and technology news coming up, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Got some great stories coming up for you. So sit back, relax, and we'll be right back. Another news tools review also coming up. This is Computer America.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben. Hey, Craig.
Yes.
We got promoted to stunt chimps.
We got promoted to what?
Stunt chimps. So, yay, promotion. Who
All
knew?
right.
I didn't know we find out on the air, but we did. So congratulations to us. Computer America, growing all the time.
I don't know what stunt chimps is, but okay.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
What is it?
Oh no. That was our producer Aaron said that we were having a difficult time conveying the ideas of the social media, and that we are having a hard time as the stunt chimps reading the prompter. But suffice to say, just go to our social media tab and it's all explained right there. Very simple. Instead of just having one place to enter a contest, we'll be having a rotation of social media that you can enter, be it Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, doesn't matter. We'll let you know on the air when it happens, but no longer the one form. You can enter multiple places, multiple times, and have a lot of fun doing it, along with viewing more Computer America content. Not that difficult.
No, it's not at all. Not at all. Okay. All right. So I think that said, I think we're ready to do some computer news, unless something else you want to mention or talk about, Ben?
Yeah, no, I have my own startup company. I think I want to put that out there to all of our listeners.
Yeah. What is that?
I am democratizing the pet adoption industry, and I will be releasing an app that will let you send pets to friends through a Facebook like. So they have no choice in the matter. The dog arrives at their door. The dog or the cat, I'm sorry. Lots of cats actually get overlooked in shelters, especially the older ones. You push it to a friend, delivered via drone to their doorstep, and then they have automatically been signed up for a 10 to 15-year commitment. So,
I'm sure they'll love you for that.
Yep. It's called paws and claws, as in the claws stick into you and you cannot get rid of the paws. So, be looking at that. I'm going to release it in the Google Play Store. None of the others would take it. So, yeah, that's what I'm working on.
The Paws and Claws pet app. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, coming to an Android
to a Google Play Store near you.
Near you. Okay, there it is. Well, what if someone gives you a parakeet or a bird?
I'm sorry, our system is not handled to do that, and the bird would probably just fly away before it even got to your doorstep. So, not to worry.
Just how about hamsters?
No, too small. They get squished between the other like you ever had like a letter from your letter carrier
Yes.
drop between the seat and it's like, oh, I missed that one. My bad. And it comes like a week later. That
Yeah.
was happening too much with the smaller rodents.
Yeah.
So because hamsters don't like being in a box for a week. Bad things happen to hamsters.
I would think
that happens.
or between the seat either. I
Or
think.
between or between the seats. So strictly dogs and cats.
Okay.
But
All right.
again, you do not even have to take care of them. You recommend other animals to other people. It's a great way of emptying out the shelters because there's just too many pets in them.
Well, that's very true. And anything we can do here to help pets get out of shelters, we'll do that. We can do a shelter. We can organize a shelter break. Just have
there you go.
Be a little siren going.
It's I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase "herding cats," but we will try it.
We'll try it. Okay.
What are we talking about anymore?
I have no idea.
Computer and technology news.
Yes, let's do it quickly before we embarrass ourselves anymore. Tonight's Computer and Technology News is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's it. Everything at slimwareutilities.com is completely free. Download them all. You'll use them all, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com. And there are lots of interesting stories tonight. This first one here, Microsoft says that pens and paper are holding your kids back. Really?
I knew it. The tools of the trade of learning in school were holding children. Like it wasn't motivation. It wasn't effective teachers. It wasn't better funded environments for them to learn at. No, it was pens and papers. I knew it.
Yeah.
Those devious pens.
Yes, and the paper too. Don't forget.
And the paper.
Yes, exactly. Evidently, this declaration is part of this Leah D. I can't pronounce her name, Jeremiu, who's a director of partners in learning at Microsoft Canada. She says this because she believes pencils, paper, chalkboards are all outdated methods of teaching. Why not? It was good for 200, 300 years. Of course, they didn't have.
Yeah, but look at us. I mean, we're a product of that.
Pencils and paper.
Yeah, and that's you and me. I think they have a point.
Yeah. Well, what is her point? She says they're all outdated methods of teaching. She says using a stylus or tablet will be the new handwriting, or she wants to call it inking. Okay. Well, we still have the tie to ink. She's calling it inking, even though there's no ink anymore with a tablet. Says also kids need to have the appropriate tools of the trade. Of course, all Microsoft. She talks about Office 365 and OneNote as being helpful for classroom settings.
Well, no, I mean, she is from Microsoft, but let's continue on with the article, and then we'll kind of say our piece, because I feel like we're both kind of brewing right now in the idea.
Well, it's known pretty well that the United States is kind of falling behind the rest of the country. U.S. classes are not adequate. They're inadequate after 69% of American high school graduates failed to meet college readiness benchmarks in science. Good grief. Math, all the technical skills too. I mean, all the necessary things. And this was a lot of times teachers were just getting frustrated and passing them on into the next grade, hoping that they would be, and we wind up with kids that are just not ready for college.
It's an increasing trend. Like we have access to more information now. More is at our fingertips with the internet. The internet is such a powerful distraction device, but at the same time, there's no other invention has been such a great proliferator of information. Like the internet is, again, a great distraction, but also could be a great teacher, though I think distraction is currently winning out.
Yeah. She does have a message that she says, which I found kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole section here that technology is a stepping stone to better education, where they had a few years ago in the UK that students learn math faster and more effectively with multi-user touchscreen desktops. They tested them before and after, and 45% of students solved more math problems than before, and only 16% taught via traditional pencil and paper methods. So I guess they tried one group with multi-touch tablets and the other with pen and paper, gave them both special tutoring, and I guess at the end of the day, the interactive touch devices won out over pencil and paper.
Do you? I mean, you were raised at a time where this was all coming into fruition. I remember when I kind of introduced our family to computers and everything, and
what, we had computers before you.
Yeah, but
you fed the addiction. You didn't start it, but you fed it.
Yeah, I mean, because you were using outdated stuff, and I wanted.
Hey, look, my Bell South computer, which is actually my mother's, my Bell South 95 computer was amazing. Yes, Bell South made computers back then.
Yeah, exactly. It still had a floppy disk in it too. I remember.
Actually, we were storing information on floppy disks. Like, we were actively using floppy disks. There's a difference.
Exactly. So you were pretty much on the cusp of the transition to technology. I mean,
I think when I was just getting out of school, like, unfortunately, I went to areas that were that received a little bit lower funding than certain other schools. But we were just like, my senior year in high school was like, they were just starting to use these programs that would project, not the overhead transparent projectors. They had like the light bulb in the mirror and it shine up on the wall, and then you draw on the like, those are just going away in favor of programs on your computer where it would have a webcam and it would just beam the image straight to the projector and it would go through the projector. Like, this kind, like, and technology definitely made a difference, even in that, in just a simple change of going from a projector to a webcam made a huge difference. And I think more technology isn't going to hurt kids in certain fields. Like, I can't imagine where learn the fundamentals of dodgeball and it's a and it's a DOS program. Like, in certain areas like math, I think math can greatly be helped by technology. It's sometimes it's easier to visualize concepts in math than it is to explain them for a person, especially things having to do with geometry and trigonometry. Like, that would lend itself perfectly for visual representations. But at the same time, things like English, certain sciences, that require hands-on demonstrations, technology is not a fix-all, cure-all band-aid for education. It's still going to come down to how good is your educator, how well funded is your school, what are the class sizes, all those traditional things that have been talked about so often. They're always going to be a factor. But Microsoft makes a pretty good point in saying that in some areas, I definitely agree with them, pencil and paper are holding kids back because technology can work wonders if kids get their hands on it.
So so if I just ask you flat out, do you think technology is offering a better way, is helping students to become more more effective in learning?
Like, yes, I think the overall message is yes. If you took all the pros and all the cons, at the end of the day, yes, technology is going to change schools. It's already invading. I mean, there are elementary students that have their homework on tablets who take their tablets home with them and do their and do their arithmetic on tablets. It's definitely happening, and they're even submitting their homework via online sources. Like, that's definitely going to happen, and it's good. But like doing away with handwriting, awful. Making sure that every assignment is done on the computer, awful. I mean, like just being in the real world, whatever that means. My handwriting has become atrocious. Like there needs to be a focus on the basics, but technology, especially the way Microsoft is proposing, is a good thing, but not for everything. I want to make that clear.
Well, I noticed the same thing even when I was out of school. I was still in school at the time, but I noticed that when I wanted to write a column and I didn't have my computer available, and so I figured I'd just use a pen and paper and just write it down. I found it a lot more difficult to do because I had become
supposedly it's like riding a bike, but I mean, you can forget how to write.
Well, I don't necessarily forget how to write, but it's a lot more painful.
Well, like when you sit down at a keyboard, especially if you're a proficient keyboard user, you can bang out 60, 70, 80 words a minute, if not over 100 words a minute. When you're writing by hand, you aren't getting anywhere near that. So you slow down and you think more, and it just muddies the whole process up. It's you can't replace the fundamentals with technology, but technology is definitely helpful.
Well, and anyway, this argument is almost moot because you can't, once the genie's out of the bottle, you can't put it back. I mean, technology is here to stay; it's not going away. And short of having an all-out holocaustic war, where we lose electricity and everything, and we have to go back to the Stone Age. Is pretty much technology is here to stay with us. I don't think that's ever going away. But I think it's like any other tool. I mean,
but like I still had math teachers that I would go and do calculus, and we learn it all by hand. We learn how to do it without a calculator. Like you could just pull out your TI-84 and you could solve these equations by have a second, have a visual, and have visual data backing up the equations. You could do computers can do all the minutia of, let's say, math on their own, but if you can't do it on your own, you really don't understand. You're not really understanding what's going on behind the scenes. Just because technology is here to stay doesn't mean you don't need to understand things.
That's very true. You still have to know how it works, or the mechanics behind it, and you still need to learn handwriting. And you might have typewriters, not typewriters, but word processors, and you have tablets, and you have your phone, but still.
Like I don't think there will ever be a day where you go into a kindergarten class, and instead of kids practicing how to make the letter A, they're hitting the key A, and A pops up on the screen, and they're like, well, we're done, kids. Good job, everyone. They're still going to teach kids how to how to do handwriting.
I hope that we will never see that time. You're right.
It would be depressing.
Yeah, it would be extremely depressing.
Although I do like how the article from Popular Science concerning the story wrapped up with this nice little quote saying that to those who are hesitant to move away from traditional teaching styles, she has a message, and that is, quote, shift or get off the pot. Exactly. Seriously, it's not fair to the kids.
That's right. I like that quote. Okay.
Okay, now my turn to do a story.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you didn't pick up on it because it was so innocuous looking. This is the coolest piece of technology I've seen in a long time. This is awesome. Okay, so this one is from Gadget. John Fingus, author, 7 hours ago. And 7 hours ago today, May 19th, today, they just released this. LG super thin OLED screen. It sticks to your wall using magnets.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into some more specifics because apparently Craig is not grasping it. If Craig can't grasp it, then I feel like you guys can't.
Okay, go ahead.
Forget buying a clunky wall mount of your TV. This thing you could stick it up on your fridge with a magnet. And LG is trying to do just that. They have unveiled a 55-inch OLED screen that is so thin and light. Okay, the thinness, 0.04 inches.
That's incredible.
That is paper thin. And the entire 55-inch OLED screen, have to reiterate that, only weighs 4.2 pounds.
Wow.
And you can put it on your wall using a magnetic mat. The design doesn't exactly leave room for much else. You probably need a breakout box for TV functions. but it raises the possibility of big screen sets that easily blend into your living room decor. They're not saying if this panel will translate into a real product. You'll most likely have to settle on the company's more conventional OLED TVs in the short term. But as a proof of concept, a 4.2 pound, 0.4 inch thick television. Pretty crazy.
That's unheard of. That is amazing. It looks like in the picture that we're looking at, it looks like the model putting it up. It looks like a poster. It looks like a sheet of paper.
Yeah, they actually have who I'm sure is a model, peeling it away from the magnetic mat that is fixed on the wall where the television would be. They actually have her kind of peeling it away, and it's not unlike peeling away a poster from a wall.
Yeah,
it's crazy how thin this thing is.
It is. I mean, it looks pretty much like a sheet of plastic or a sheet of paper. It's that thin. It is quite remarkable to have something like that.
Yep, 0.04 inches, or I believe here 4.3 millimeters thick.
Wow,
crazy.
Well, we're continuing to do computer and technology news, and here's a story from Maximum PC that was issued 10 hours ago by Paul Lilly, and I have been vindicated. Folks. How many times, Ben, have you asked me, about computer games, and then I will jokingly come back and say, I like solitaire. Well, according to the story,
I think vindication is a strong word. Before we go anywhere, I think vindication is a strong word.
Well, after 25 years, Microsoft Tournament sparks renewed interest in solitaire. Okay. Again, they say better start practicing again. Okay. I mean, there it is. Solitaire once again. Let's face it, solitaire was the game. You'd be at your business, or you'd do something and want to take a break. Solitaire was always there. It was there to play. It was a way of getting through, the day. And evidently, 25 years. It's the 25th anniversary on Windows and Microsoft, for Microsoft Windows. It's there. And evidently, in honor of that, they're holding a pair of tournaments, one for employees and a second one for everyone else around the world. Okay? I still can't believe that it was 25 years ago that Microsoft debuted Solitaire on Windows. So first, they're going to have an internal competition amongst Microsoft employees, okay? And that actually kicked off today to determine who leads the leaderboards. And then, evidently, early in June, the same challenge will be used in the tournament to be released in the game for the world to play. Microsoft stated in the details of the tournament is fairly scarce, though it does look like they will include all 5 game modes available in Windows. That's Klondike, Free Cell, Spider, Tri-Peaks, and Pyramid. Beyond that, no one else knows. And also, whether the winners will get anything other than, bragging rights that they win. That's a
pretty good reward, is being able to brag about solitaire.
Okay. Now, the article finishes up. It says, if Windows 8 is your first Windows OS, you may not know what the big deal is, because Solitaire has been included on every version of Windows from Windows 3.0 to 7, but not in 8. You can get it in the Windows Store, right? But evidently, they realized the error of their ways, and they will be bringing Solitaire back to Windows 10. Yes, so you will.
By popular demand.
Yes, exactly. Windows 10 will have Solitaire again. But that's cool, though. I didn't know it was 25 years. Did you? A 25-year anniversary of Solitaire. on
No,
was it?
that's a birthday I've been remiss in not remembering.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there it is. Okay, so very cool. Very cool.
Very cool. If you like that kind of thing, yeah, no. So let's see. Next story. We only have enough time to probably just get into it.
Uh-huh.
But how about we do this one? Game of Thrones.
Ah,
You may know the series.
yes.
It's popular by some. Do you not agree, Craig?
Yes, it is popular by a lot, actually.
It is popular by a lot. And so here's an article from Engadget, and apparently Game of Thrones, yes, that Game of Thrones has been pirated
No.
3.5 million times just by HBO Now. And I'm sure they're just talking about the latest season.
You left out the most important 3 million times in a single 24-hour period.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, so 3.5 million times in a single 24-hour period. Yes, correct. So
Evidently,
that's
that's
a
some kind
lot.
of new record. That's some kind of a new record.
That is probably the record to beat if you're looking for illegally downloaded television shows.
Wow.
And HBO is probably none too happy about it. They're certain that by offering their customers HBO Now, which is the new $15 a month service available through Apple Television and other Apple devices, as well as one other cable company, but really HBO Now is in very, very limited markets. Apparently 3.5 million times in a single 24-hour period, the new Game of Thrones episodes still aren't getting out to the public as fast as people would like. Because let's face it, when people talk about Game of Thrones, they talk about what happened last night. It's one of the few shows that I feel like almost the entire country is watching. Like it whenever a new one hits, you can go places online, just like the good old days. You can go to the water cooler the next day, and people will have seen it, and you can talk about it. It's a show that transcends time. Really, people are talking about it. It's not just one that's binge watched, and then whenever it comes up, people kind of say, "Oh, I like that one." They're watching it as it airs. So, yeah, apparently this season's episode 6 edged out last week's record, setting 3.22 million downloads. So this is a growing trend of people illegally downloading the show, but it's only beating itself in terms of piracy. It's not like the television series Arrow is in second place. No, it's Game of Thrones beating out Game of Thrones. And I don't know. It makes you wonder.
Yes.
Why is HBO still only offering a deal through Apple? Like, again, it has to be some sort of exclusivity.
Apple wanted some sort of exclusivity, and they were willing to pay them. And I guess they figured the amount of money Apple is offering HBO probably supersedes even the 3.5 million times that it was illegally downloaded in a single 24-hour period.
3.5 million times, and let's imagine that half that number is are willing to pay $15 a month. Let's say they brought it to just your browser. Just you go to hbonow.com and you could sign up in your browser, pay $15 a month, and you could do it, from anywhere you are. If half of those, we're talking, let's see, 3.5, 1.75 times 15 equals whatever some number that is. Like, I don't know.
It's a lot.
That's like 20 million. I want to say $20 million for one, like per person on a monthly going basis. So that's a lot of money just sitting there. People want this show. Obviously, 3.5 million illegal downloads. People want this show. I really get the feeling that people don't have a way of getting it. So hopefully whatever deal Apple is offering is trumping this, because at some point when it's 3.5 million people, do you really blame those insidious pirates, or do you start blaming your content providers and their lack of ability to get content to their to customers?
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I've read the books. I've seen, I believe, seasons 1 and 2, but I'm not up to date on the television show.
The picture of that actor. Do you know who that guy is?
He, I believe, is the Mountain. Like that's his character. I don't recall his actual name though.
Okay. I'm wondering how they use him in Game of Thrones, because the tattoos he has on his arm are very modern looking. It wouldn't the character depicted in Game of Thrones wouldn't have used those.
No. Those are not his real tattoos. Those are tattoos of him. Like that's his show tattoo.
Okay, because they're very modern
in the show. No, not really. I mean, there's a warrior right there. There's one of the probably someone he knows. Like he actually, fun fact, before we go to a commercial break, he was the one who broke the 1,000-year-old Viking strength competition.
Oh yes, I remember you talking about him.
Yeah, he lifted 1,500 pounds.
Wow. Hey, we got to take a little break, and we've got a news tip bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up as well, and then we'll continue with more computer technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Well, nice of you to show up again. It's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Pocket Click Stick. The Pocket Click Stick from Thumbs Up turned out to be more interesting than we anticipated. It starts with a handle with a button on it, a rod that telescopes out, a spring-loaded bracket, and a plug that fits a handset's headset jack. You use the spring clamp to hold the handset in landscape mode, rotate the whole thing for portrait mode. Bring up your camera app and push the button on the stick to take a selfie. We love where the batteries go. They go away. It doesn't use batteries or Bluetooth, just the wire you plug in, and the collapsed gizmo is small enough to fit most pockets or purses. Bottom line, the Pocket Click Stick makes it a snap to snappier selfie snapshots. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. We are doing computer and technology news, of course, brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. And we were just wrapping up with the story about Game of Thrones and how it's been pirated more than any other series to date yet, and that's even after HBO Now. HBO Now, of course, was HBO's reaction to people wanting their content but not being able to get it. Although, let's face it, just like the top commenter here. iOS only, USA only, and honestly, the piracy is probably coming from other countries, and from other platforms. So, if they've no doubt seen an uptick in sales, like from Apple's viewpoint, they're probably seeing an uptick in sales for people who have Apple TVs and are willing to pay for it. But I think the larger majority out there is willing to pay, just doesn't have a good route to pay.
All right. Well,
so that's that one.
That's that one. Do you like PayPal?
It's not bad.
Okay. Well, evidently,
it's the thing that gives Elon Musk their power.
Exactly. Well, evidently, someone of cloud is going to try and compete with it, and that would be MasterCard. According to the story from Engadget, MasterCard Send, that's what they're calling it. MasterCard Send is evidently a new way to distribute funds quickly. And this is by Billy Steele from Engadget. He says basically, you know how I feel about checks, especially when you're in the express line of the grocery store. And if you want to send somebody money, well, there's all that, writing and mailing and licking the stamps and putting it in. It's a terrible process. It's antiquated. Evidently, MasterCard says it solved the convenience issue with what they're calling MasterCard Send. And this is evidently a new system that allows businesses and individuals to securely exchange funds in a matter of minutes. So I guess that means you no longer have to wait for a check to clear. The check is in the mail. So basically, while businesses looking to send refunds, claim payments, and rebates are a key focus, MasterCard is letting you, me, regular people leverage the system to send money to friends and family. And here's the real interesting thing. Because to use PayPal, what do you have to be? You have to be a member of PayPal. You have to subscribe to the PayPal service. You have to register your bank. You have to do all that stuff with PayPal, right? Evidently, with this MasterCard Send, you do not have to be one of its customers to opt in. And you can use Send to pay for goods at participating retailers. You don't have to be a member. I don't know how that's going to work, but evidently they figured it out. It goes on to say that you can connect a debit card to access funds, but whoever you're sending currency to doesn't need a bank account, as it'll work with services like Western Union. Yes, they're still around. Western Union still is around. Okay. Remember that song, Western Union? Dun, 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 dun.
No, I don't think anyone does.
Okay. And because this is going to be available on any device, they're assuming that some sort of app is going to make this work. But MasterCard is being cagey. They're not telling too much of the details yet. So that's pretty much all we know about it. But they do say, the author of the story says he's curious if they can take on the likes of PayPal and Venmo for beaming money to pals from across the table, should the need arise. So
who knew the the spreading of currency would be so so divided? Because just lately, Facebook has been starting to accept transmissions of funds. Like, you can send people money through Facebook, and you can send money through applications like Snapchat. like sending money has gotten so popular lately. I am eager to see where MasterCard fits into all of this, because prepaid Visa cards have, traditionally been the go-to method. So hopefully MasterCard does something to improve and recapture some of that market.
Well, I think it's intriguing, and I would certainly like to see what it is. And I mean, I like the idea. You don't have to be a member to do it, and it holds some interesting promise. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see until they make it. But it's called Mastercard Send, and we'll keep an eye out for it. And we certainly will here at Computer America and let you know when we find out, because I think it's an interesting prospect, really.
For sure, for sure.
Anything that will stop the little old ladies making out checks in the express line.
Yeah, we've heard your horror story.
I know. I'm for.
We've heard your horror story. Okay. All right. How about getting a little bit more back on technology, not just consumer products, but technology? This one from Max and PC, Jimmy Thang. Anyways, AMD reveals high bandwidth memory plan.
Ooh.
Yeah, who knew? Oh, and by the way, we talk about Max and PC stores all the time here on the show. Love their site. They have an awesome publication, and they just recently redid their website. You'll see from our feed, and it's definitely worth going and checking out. They did a great job with their website. I guess they saw ours and were like, man, we need to catch up with the times. Yeah. So Max and PC has a new website. But anyways, back onto this RAM and how it's a quote-unquote revolution in chip design. And the GDDR5 will soon stall GPU performance growth, says AMD. And according to the red team, the red team being, of course, AMD, GDDR5 is entering an inefficient region of power to performance curve. That curve can be seen here, where you kind of get the memory power, the PC power, obviously transacting each other, and of course that results in the GPU performance taking a nosedive. No, not good. So historically, AMD would try to solve these power to performance issues by shrinking chips, but the company says that the integration isn't ideal for DRAM. And it's not size or cost effective for integration in a logic optimized process. So they have the layout here as well. It's attempting to solve the issues by introducing its interposer, which brings DRAM closer to the logic die. According to AMD, it will have a much wider bus width, which improves the bandwidth per watt as well. That relates back to the title of the article. It's a high bandwidth memory plan, essentially making sure that the chips, because they're closer to the logic die and diagram, they're gonna have they're hoping to solve these these memory bottlenecks by making it more efficient with the throughput. So the chips themselves may not be that much more powerful, but if it can push data out and receive data quicker, then the processing power will indeed go up, even though the specs behind it have not. It's just the way the chips are designed. AMD is trying something new with their new GDDR5 RAM. So,
and it'll do it at less than 50% the power consumption.
Yep, less than 50% power consumption, and it will allow for up to 3 times the performance per watt and consume 94% less PCB surface than the GDDR5, so smaller chips as well. So AMD's trying some new things with RAM.
I think that's obviously a good thing. You can never have too much RAM, and obviously the faster it is, the better it is. I would think so. Yep. Exactly. I've got 2 stories that I want to do, Ben, but sort of back to back. But I'll go ahead and pick this one.
Go ahead.
This came from this was from yesterday. A story that we didn't get a chance to, and I want to mention it, that Tesla just got the green light to sell electric cars in Maryland. Okay, the governor is allowing Tesla to sell directly to customers. which I think is a good thing. And it's it's an uphill battle for Tesla. I mean,
they're a car company that's unlike any car company before it.
yeah, because normally you would have to go into a dealership, and go to the dealer and deal with the dealer. You would never go to Ford or to Chevy or GM to buy your car. You have to go to a dealer. That's not the case with Tesla. Basically, you can go to a Tesla showroom, but basically, when you're ready to order the car, you order directly from Tesla, and that has caused a huge problem, especially from, well, guess what? Car dealers. They're the middlemen. Let's face it. Having I can remember, back when you had a Cadillac dealership, it was a gold mine. You were in, you had it. It was a, but companies like Tesla are changing the way that people buy automobiles.
Yeah, for some reason that I personally never understood. I guess I was unfortunately not existent during the time. Car companies are only allowed to distribute their vehicles through car dealerships. They're not allowed to go directly to the public, though Tesla is working hard and making deals left and right to bypass the third party and just sell directly to consumers.
Yeah, they've been fighting the law in Ohio, New Jersey, Texas, and Michigan. And evidently, this big win in Maryland is allowing Tesla to skip third-party dealerships and sell directly to customers, and that's a big deal. Now, why they're allowing them to do that in Maryland is, from the story, is not totally clear. The governor said that this is a quote. He says, "We hope this momentum, combined with encouragement from independent entities such as the Federal Trade Commission, will lead to direct sales in other states such as Connecticut, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona." Okay.
Well, it says here that by selling it directly to consumers, Tesla can better educate consumers about the benefits of electric cars. Because at the end of the day, if you're selling it through dealerships, maybe the dealerships aren't going to focus on the fuel efficiency. They're not going to focus on the ease of use. They're just going to focus on, look how flashy it is. Look at this. Look at that. They may not market it as effectively as someone, say, if Tesla could, because we've had Mike Cermak on pretty much monthly at this point for the last couple of months, giving us updates about Tesla, and just what he tells us aren't things that you would normally hear from a dealership.
That's true. Yeah. And that's their concern. Because if Tesla would use third-party dealers, to sell its vehicles, their concern is to be able to make a strong enough case for a customer to choose an electric car over a conventional gas one. So that's their concern, and I guess they feel this gives them better control over and I guess in the long run, it gives them an advantage in the fact that it makes the car less expensive, because now you're not paying a dealership, you're not paying the middleman, you're paying it directly from the manufacturer. You're getting the base price, and there's no one to negotiate with. Basically, the price is what the price is. But
if you're worried about that business model, they're back ordered until I think they're ordered all the way through next year or up to next year. So people obviously want these cars.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, or you're just going to have to go out of the state to buy the car that you want. If you live in Connecticut, you're going to have to go to Florida or something, go to a neighboring state. And not saying that Florida is next to Connecticut, but I'm just saying you have to go to a nearby state.
I mean, and at the end of the day, aren't we all next to each other?
Yeah. It's just miles. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, but you said there was a second story, like a quick follow-up to this one, or somehow related to this.
Yeah, well, it's not really related, but it has to do with cars. And it's just a short one. Is that Uber? Evidently.
You're right. That's not related. Good job.
I know, but it's a car company, and I thought it was kind of cool.
Technically, Uber is not a car company. It is a ride-sharing service.
Right. And if you want your driver, your Uber driver, to say "hola" instead of "hello," you've got it. Because evidently, in 6 U.S. areas, that's Chicago, L.A., Orange County, Phoenix, San Diego, and Tucson, you now have the choice of a Spanish-speaking UberX driver when you need a lift. But when you do that, according to the story, this sadly leaves out posher ride options. But it's a big deal if you're more comfortable with the language or having a passenger whose English isn't that great. So that's it. So now you can get your driver to speak Spanish from Uber.
Okay, let's take an example of a service like Uber and now compare it to New York City.
Okay.
Could you imagine getting into a cab and saying, I don't speak English, and then you go off on Spanish?
Yeah.
They would kick you out of their taxi.
Well, I guess he could, because it's up to the taxi driver to,
Like, there's never been an option in the past that, like, you kind of had to scope out the taxi drivers around you and see which one, looks like he might be able to speak Spanish. Now with this option, hey, multilingual options for ride sharing. What a great feature.
But I got to tell you, if you have a smartphone today with Google Translate, you can do pretty darn good. You can
People aren't gonna do that.
You can speak into your phone and not in English, and that'll become Spanish, or you can speak Spanish in your phone and that'll become English, and it's pretty darn accurate too. And not only that, the Google Translate app, you can actually hold it up, use the camera, and if there's writing like on a sign or something in one language, it'll translate the sign physically onto the sign, so you can actually read what the sign actually says. I've done it. It's an amazing technology. Yeah.
But I don't think it's good enough yet that everyone will be pulling out their phones to conquer the language barrier between us all. So,
but we'll get there eventually.
We'll get there eventually, but it's not there yet. And in the meantime, Uber is doing Uber Español.
I know. Okay.
Is the name. Español with, of course, the tilde over the N in Español. So let's see. Next story. How about this one? A couple people in the chat were mentioning this one. And this one is kind of related to Tesla, actually, because it is for PayPal, and U.S. regulator orders PayPal to pay $25 million in refunds and fines. Yeah, PayPal is in trouble. This one, of course, from CNET, Ben Fox-Rubin, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau claims PayPal signed up consumers to its credit service, PayPal Credit, without their permission.
Really?
That's a no-no.
Yeah.
So the U.S. Consumer Finance Watchdog, $25 million from PayPal, and for illegally signing people up for, again, the PayPal Credit, its online credit service. They have here that they've deceptively advertised promotions for PayPal Credit, formerly known as Bill Me Later, which is a line of credit consumers can use to pay for online and other purchases. The company also signed up customers for credit without their permission, directed users to its PayPal Credit instead of preferred payment method, and mishandled billing disputes, the CFPB claimed in a U.S. district court. So essentially, what people were kind of thinking was either a deferred payment or some other thing. Turns out it was deceptively. Like, Bill Me Later doesn't sound like, hey, sign me up for a credit card. Mm-hmm. Bill Me Later sounds like, oh, you have some kind of layaway or something. Yeah. No, Bill Me Later turns out to be a form to fill out. You fill it out. You are now signed up for PayPal Credit. PayPal obviously wanting you to sign up for that so they can make their interest off of your purchases. Apparently, under the proposed settlement, PayPal will hand over $15 million in refunds to consumers and $10 million in civil penalties. They have to improve their disclosures for PayPal Credit. But apparently PayPal neither admitted nor denied any of the complaint's allegations, and the settlement doesn't constitute a finding that the company violated any laws. It says that, but $25 million in fees and fines doesn't exactly scream innocent, does it?
No, it doesn't.
But innocent until proven guilty. I guess we even have to respect that in the courts. They paid their fine, they got their slap on the wrist, and they are innocent as far as anyone else is.
Slap on the wrist. Yeah.
Yep, slap on the wrist. Huge emphasis on wrist because it's a very, very small slap for someone like PayPal who does a lot of business. Article kind of goes on, but I think we got the gist of it. You could be entitled to some of that if you accidentally signed up for it. I'm sure there you can go find information online about how to receive a refund. But yeah, it's sorry to anyone who accidentally fell for that.
Yeah. Merle. All right.
Yep. So yeah, next story is yours.
Yeah, this one is amazing. Hold on a second.
Yeah, apparently this one's amazing. Craig is obviously talking about the Google Tone, right?
Yes, exactly. This is amazing. This is a Chrome add-on that shares your web links through sound bursts. So basically, the days of sharing web links through copying text or bumping devices is definitely going to soon be over. This is from Google.
I like the technology bump, taking the two phones and tapping them together.
Yeah, it gets you friendly with the other person, but only so far. It's called Google Tone, and this is an experimental, and that's in quotes, Chrome extension that shares your browser's current web address to other computers through specially crafted sound bursts. So long as the recipients are within a microphone range and they use tone, they don't have to lift a finger. Their computers or phones or whatever will pick up the audio cue and start surfing. Now, they go on to say that there are a lot of variables that could sour your experience. Don't try this in a noisy room. That would be, but this still could be ideal if you just have to send your favorite cat videos to everyone within earshot. I think this is a very cool technology.
Sounds like a way for Google to play ads. Like imagine walking around a mall and then someone, like let's say they sold this kind of technology to Nike, just to pick a company at random. Yeah. And during a Nike ad, like right before, they hit that button and the tone goes out, and every device within earshot of a speaker suddenly, like, let's say you're browsing through so-and-so, it would pull up.
That won't work because the app has to be running to do that. You can't just send out a blast.
Google Tone now standard on all devices.
Yeah, but you still have to run it. You don't. But if they make it default to be on, always on, when you first get it, I guess that would certainly be a way of pushing.
I'm saying that was my extreme possibility. Not saying that that's what's going to happen, but hey, could be cool. If you wanted to try tone surfing, I just kind of wonder if you're able to save that tone and it is applied to that link for all time.
I would think you could. I think that you could probably save it, and then you could re-blast it out to something else, or maybe it's just it's in the website. Maybe it's part of the website. It's in the HTML code. So when when you go to that page, you can have that tone ready to go.
Well, I think the emphasis here should be on tone and experimental Chrome extension. So experimental, not all things that come out of Google turn out to be successful, but this one sounds cool. So give it a looky, Lou.
Yeah. Okay. And again, Google Tone.
Google Tone.
Coming soon to your browser.
Coming soon. Yeah. And we had a lot of different stories. We did that one a couple of days ago, how Radio Shack was selling your private information.
Yes.
For $26.2 million. That went through. So all of your private information is now in the hands of the highest bidder. So that went through. Didn't have to get a chance to really get into that. Xbox Live, some new rewards. Google and Apple, both among tech companies that don't want to hand over encryption keys to government. So, that's good. Lots of news stories we just don't have time for.
But again, thank you so much for being with us here on listening to us on Computer America. Now, coming up tomorrow night, in the first hour, we're going to have Puro Sound Labs.
90 seconds.
Puro Sound Labs makes the studio-grade Bluetooth wireless headphones. And the first one is actually headphones for children, for kids. They've got an amazing sound effect, and yet they protect the ears. And they're also coming out with an adult version as well. Puro Sound Labs, we're going to have two of the creators of these devices on the show tomorrow night. And then in the second hour, computer and technology news.
60 seconds.
Brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Again, I want to thank our guest, our first hour guest, Dane Coyer from SpaceCurve on the program. And thanks to all of you so much for being here with us on Computer America. So again, tomorrow night, Puro Labs in the first hour. Then we're going to talk about Puro Kids. And then we're going to also talk about they have in-ear monitor dual dynamic drivers. We're going to be talking about their in-ear phase optimized system, some really cool technology. And then again, computer technology news in the second hour brought to you by Slimware Utilities. So that wraps it up. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
Seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody. Again, thanks for being with us here on the show tonight and on our live video streaming portion of the show. And Ben, we'll see you here tomorrow night with Puro Labs and Computer News. Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Night, everyone.